And good morning and welcome to the second day of Cyber Infrastructure Days at Purdue. I know you had an excellent program yesterday, and there's quite a bit on the schedule today, concluding with remarks by Jerry McCartney, Purdue Vice President for Information Technology, Chief Information Officer, and Olga Osterly, England Professor of Information Technology. We have some guests here from off campus, and I want to extend our special welcome to you. Our President, France Cordova, regrets that she's unable to attend. She's got more important business in Stockholm, Sweden, sorry to say, but where Purdue's Dr. H. Negishi is receiving a Nobel Prize in Chemistry. I hope you've all been following that on the web. It's a fascinating story. He's become quite a celebrity over there. Dr. Cordova sends her best wishes for an outstanding conference and her strong support for the work you're doing. Purdue CI Days 2010 is focused on broadening the use of cyber infrastructure with expert presentations and panel discussions by faculty members who are already taking advantage of it. CI Days also is designed to generate an open dialogue among presenters and attendees, and I trust that's been going well. I can see that we're going to have more of that today. This is organized by ITAP, Purdue's Central Information Technology Organization, through a grant from the National Science Foundation. Congratulations to everyone with ITAP for their outstanding work in putting the program together, and also thanks to NSF for making this possible. I'm excited to be here talking about this important topic. I'm going to say a little bit about cyber infrastructure and academic initiatives, and I'll close with a few remarks more having to relate to my own experiences. Our academic cyber infrastructure at Purdue University has the largest capacity of any U.S. university. It happens that the University of Colorado is expected to pass us for first place in the spring when they install their newest supercomputer, but clearly we're at the forefront, and that's an exciting place to be. Among the programs that has made this possible is community clusters. The Purdue Rosen Center for Advanced Computing operates a significant shared cluster computing infrastructure. It was developed over several years through focused acquisitions using funds from grants, faculty startup packages, and institutional sources. These community clusters are now at the foundation of Purdue's research cyber infrastructure. The community cluster program is centralized supercomputing cluster operation that represents a game-changing way of providing high-performance computing power more efficiently to more users at a lower cost. Developed by, the idea is to pool the nodes purchased by several individual departments or researchers to build a very large central cluster. The end result is a cluster with a single compute or total compute power more than any single user could purchase, significantly lower costs, and much higher utilization of resources. Of course, we strongly encourage any faculty, Purdue faculty or staff members with computational needs to join this growing community and enjoy the enormous benefits this shared infrastructure provides. Although this arrangement is not unique to Purdue University, no other university has used the approach to the advantage that we have. So far, nearly 100 research faculty members have joined this collaborative effort. Purdue has shown national leadership in providing cyber infrastructure resources. The diagrid, involving a number of Indiana universities, including IU, captures unused computer cycles from college campuses and makes them available to science. This is a national resource and an opportunity we wish more universities would use. Diagrid works something like a supercomputing screensaver. When users are away from the computer, even for as little as a minute, science jobs waiting for computing time are started on the machine. This allows computing resources to be harnessed when the user has gone home for the evening, left for vacation, or even gone down the hall for a meeting. It's not only the size of our machines that makes research computing at Purdue stand out, but also the breadth of the programs here. The Hub Zero project, which I had the pleasure of watching develop, I wasn't involved in it, but it grew out of my field, nanotechnology, has built science gateways for 25 disciplines and organizations with many more on the way. This is a powerful web platform that allows scientists to share research modeling tools, presentations, and experimental findings. Cyber infrastructure is the software that connects people to computing resources and to one another online. Hub Zero provides a way to host simulation tools and other education and research resources, making them as effortless to use as accessing a web page. It also gives researchers immediate access to national supercomputing resources via the National Science Foundation's TerraGrid. Again, IU is part of that important effort. Being able to connect researchers with national and international cyber infrastructure resources is a useful way in making an important contribution to science and engineering. And I'm told from the hub developers there will be a mobile application for smartphones coming in the spring. Everything is going that way. For the future, we will continue to add machines, as will other institutions. Purdue will be building a 4th internationally ranked supercomputer this summer. But finding more ways to connect these resources to the researchers and even to the general public through resources such as smartphone applications and interactive websites is also part of the future vision. Now on to academics. I'm proud to say that Purdue develops more academic technology to improve student success than any other university. It's a very innovative environment. I'll give you several examples. First, our best known technology is called Signals. This was released commercially this fall by SunGard. It's now under the name Course Signals. Developed by Purdue, the Course Signal software monitors students' behavior patterns and academic performance to determine if they are at risk of earning a low grade. It allows faculty to intervene with suggestions and actions that can be taken to help students improve their grades. An intuitive stoplight provides indications to students if they're underperforming and prompts them to take action. We found that most students in the middle, so those making B's, C's, or maybe a few D's, Signals will raise their performance by 1 letter grade, typically. Signals was the focus of Making a Difference piece on NBC Nightline News last year. Another academic technology that has received quite a bit of attention is HotSeat. HotSeat's a software application that captures student comments about a class and allows everyone in the class to view those messages, including the professor and teaching assistants. Students can post messages to HotSeat using Facebook, MySpace, or Twitter accounts, or they can send text messages or simply log on to the HotSeat website. College students have always talked about their classes, and lately the conversations have moved to Facebook, Twitter, and text messages, often during the class lecture itself. Sounds distracting, but that's the reality. This application developed at Purdue uses those back-channel conversations to improve students' learning and accepting the fact that that's the way students communicate and interact during classes. Let's turn it around and make it a positive thing to enhance the learning environment. Still another academic technology is Mixable. This lets university students create online study groups within Facebook and lets the participants sync and share documents via Dropbox. The idea is to blend students' social and academic lives into a more engaged experience. That's happening not only in our cyber infrastructure, but in our physical infrastructure and the way we evaluate student success. Mixable builds online study groups from classes or learning communities and lets students contribute to those online groups through Facebook accounts. One of our latest technologies is DoubleTake. This is a video application that will make video assignments as easy to submit, grade, and return as paper assignments. This will be revolutionary for some academic areas. This technology is unique because it taps into our distributed computing grid, DiaGrid, and uses this supercomputer network to render the video for the students in nearly real time. Students can shoot the video, render it using the grid, although this is invisible to them, and share it with a professor or classmates, all from a smartphone. And you can imagine, I have a 17-year-old in high school. She would jump on this. They're already kludging it on their own. So this is, I think, a timely innovation. We're able to accomplish all of this because we have a talented staff and we're increasing efficiency through improved governance. My congratulations and thanks to everyone who's involved with this. Because of our success in educational and scientific technology, Purdue is often recognized by the national media as a leader in IT. And I think IT will become more important over the years as we plan to continue this leadership. And if I could just reflect back on my own experiences, and I'm not a leader in cyber infrastructure, I've always been a little bit on the periphery, but I had when I started my career 25 years ago, I started at Bell Communications Research as a result of the divestiture of the telephone company. And even though I was working in the physical sciences, I was surrounded by people who were innovating in various areas like fiber to the home, which was our dream back then in the mid-'80s, personal communication services, including personal number services, HDTV, we had demos back then running, video on demand, which seemed like a long haul, and a DSL, which we called and invented there, called ADSL, Asynchronous Digital Subscriber Line. You know, I think back on that, some of those made it, and some of them are still on the way, and some of them have failed. Certainly, we could say personal communication services have made it and exploded. HDTV's on the way. Video on demand is kind of hitting us this year, I'd say, with what's happening with Netflix and the network, and that's kind of exciting to see. DSL's probably passé now, and well, we'll see. Fiber to the home never happened, and maybe it will someday, but cable, we didn't, back in the mid-'80s, we had no idea that cable would play any role. So it's really interesting to see how things have evolved, and I'm excited to see which technologies of the ones that we're developing here at Purdue and our collaborating universities will change the face of the way we deliver our product, the way we teach our students and do our research 25 years from now. It'll happen faster than that in some cases, but in some it won't. So it'll be really interesting to see which will be the winners. Also, 2010, from my group's research experience, is the first year where computational techniques have been able to model the nano devices that we make. And I would say that transition happened a couple of months ago. We're now able to model exactly what the structures we're making and to visualize them as well. Couldn't do that last year. So it's a really exciting time for my own research. And so I'm really happy to see you here and excited about what the future will bring. Thank you very much.